Welcome back, everyone, to the GOATcast podcast. Today, I'm your host, Big Nige, and we're joined, of course, by, CW, the tallest, the baldest. That is him.
What's going on,
fans?
What's going on? Midweek. Hope work ain't killing you right now, but yeah, we got some interesting things going on in the NBA.
Rightfully so. Just a little overview of what we're getting into today. Just some notable game recaps. I'm only going to go over 2 notable games. The rest of the games weren't really interesting. Not much really happened. We'll kind of get into our takes on who's better, the East versus the Western Conference, and any hot takes in between those. So we look forward to it. So jumping in to notable game number 1, we're going to look at the Nuggets, who were hosted by the Los Angeles Clippers. And let me just go ahead and tell you, that game was bad, man. I mean, no Jokic, no Murray, no Aaron Gordon, and a struggling Michael Porter Jr. And the Clippers still find a way to lose. And you would think I'd be making this up, but I mean, there's a certain individual on that team, man. His name is getting dragged through the mud, and that is James Harden, man. He is. Let's just be honest, he's cooked. I mean, it is egregious. Like, if you go back and watch that game, they were literally punting him. One man in particular, Reggie Jackson, player of the game. The game ball goes to him. 35 and 13, he basically didn't miss. Anytime James Harden was in front of him, he went right on by him. It was literally Olay defense all game long. I could see the Clippers, the fans, the players, all looking at James Harden like, bruh, this man would sit on the three-point line, guard him. As soon as he takes 2 steps by him, he's looking around like this. It was crazy. At this point, it's just time to bench him. Like, the last 5 games, against the Spurs, 28 minutes, 4 for 12. Against the Spurs again, 36 minutes, 3 for 7. 37 minutes against the Pelicans, 2 for 8. 28 minutes against the Dallas Mavericks, a game that they actually won. Surprise, surprise. 2 for 8. And last night, of course, 36 minutes. 3 for 7. It's hard to watch, man. And if I'm Russell Westbrook, I'm out there picking in front of the arena. I'm like, hey, man, even if I'm Bones Highland, a guy who they basically took out of the rotation for James Harden, man, he can get you, if you give him 36 minutes, he can get you better than 3 for 7. I mean, their defense might be comparable, but at least he's going to give you effort. That's the one thing you cannot teach is effort. I mean, Harden shows no effort on that side of the ball. It's ridiculous. But those are my thoughts on that game. What do you got for that game?
Ty Lue, I respected and thought was a top-notch coach, but head coach. But after last night, it's time to Steve Ballmer's got to rethink this whole thing. He's got to restructure. He's got to get some of these guys out of here. The fact that you brought up Bones Highland is somebody I was going to talk about big time. And you take this kid out of the rotation for an aging, over-the-hill James Harden. The kid was doing well. He was averaging 10 points. He's averaging double digits. I think 2.4 assists. Nothing extravagant, but he's young. So you want to go with a guy that, has pretty much wrecked 2 teams. Well, he wrecked the Nets and then went to the Sixers, and they actually benefited from him leaving. So I won't say that he wrecked them, but for a short amount of time, he messed up the, their chemistry for a little while, especially, behind the scenes. But you're not playing your young players. You give up all of your wings just about for one player that, as you see, he can't guard anything. He can't guard anybody. And you have aging stars like Kawhi, Paul George, who are solid defenders, but they can't defend everybody on the court by themselves. 2 guys can't guard 5 guys. I'm sorry. And Zubac, you can't. I mean, what are you going to do with him? So I understand he's working with very little because of whoever thought this was a good trade. But come on, you're going to have, like you said, there's got to be a point where Ty Lue says, this is it. I've got to sit James Harden. I've got to count my losses there. And we just got to try to be the team we were when we started this season. Somehow we're missing a lot of key pieces, but we've got to work with what we have. Throw Bones Highland out there. Let him grow. You know, he could be, even if you want to blow this team up, he could still be a key piece, trade piece in the long run if you at least let him develop and teams can see, hey, this kid, you know, we can trade some draft picks for this kid and get something that will benefit us. But if you sit him down, you take him out of rotation for guys that aren't doing anything for you, then, I mean, you get what you get, and that's what they're getting. I didn't think the Clippers were broken. I said this many times before. They weren't broken, and they broke themselves with this silly trade. So, I mean, hats off to the Nuggets for actually showing up and playing. I mean, most times a team missing 3 starters, you know, they probably thought, I mean, the Clippers probably thought this is a gimme game, but, you know, they came to play, and rightfully so, they won, which they deserve to because the Clippers are a mess. And like I said in our hot takes a few weeks ago, Steve Ballmer's got to blow this up. He's got to just say, you know what, I lost money from this. I'm gonna just have to cut everybody. And I think that's what's going to happen. Clippers are a tragic organization. They'll never win one, and they can only blame themselves.
Yeah, I mean, one more thing to echo. I mean, DeAndre Jordan turned back the clock, looked like prime Dwight Howard. Of all people, right? DeAndre Jordan, 21 points, 13 rebounds. I mean, he probably caught about 5 to 6 lobs that game. It looked like everything he touched, he was dunking.
You have a 67-year-old man out there putting up 21 and 13. I mean, come on, Clippers. That's just ridiculous.
That's very embarrassing. If I was the Clippers, I'd be really embarrassed about that. But jumping into the next game, which really wasn't much of a game, my Los Angeles Lakers played the 76ers, and we proceeded to get our butts waxed off of that Philadelphia floor. I'm not even going to tell you the final score because it was abysmal. One notable stat, LeBron, this is the first time since November 2nd, I think back in like 2009, 2010 was like the last game LeBron didn't record a single rebound. I just thought that was kind of interesting because that was indicative of how bad they got blown off the floor. I was really excited to see AD go up against, Embiid, one of those marquee matchups, 2, really good big men at their position. But we saw it wasn't close. At least that matchup, it wasn't close. Embiid was just giving them whatever he wanted to give them, and the Lakers just rolled over. I expect a bounce back game for the Los Angeles Lakers going to the next game because this game was over before it started.
Well, they better hope they can bounce back from LeBron's worst loss ever. 44 points. That was really, really bad.
So, since I am the host and I like to shake things up a little bit.
One thing I want to say also. Basically about that Lakers versus Sixers game. And you brought up Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis against Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Nikola Jokic in the last 3 years is 3-13. He's a top 10 player in the NBA. 3-13.
Well, there's more to get into that than just him.
3-13 against the other big men of the league. So that's kind of telling.
Well, I mean, if you really want to like look at that, it's hard to just take that record face value because a lot of things that go into that, especially when the Lakers really weren't competing, like not this past season, but the seasons prior, they really weren't competing like that. So I mean, a lot of those teams, like the Bucks and the Sixers, they were in a good spot to compete for a championship. Either way, getting into the next topic, we got the East versus West. Now, CW over here is convinced that the Eastern Conference, who's been notoriously worse than the Western Conference, he somehow believes that the East is better than the West. And I'm here to tell him that is absolutely not the case. Now, the difference in talent is a lot closer than years before. But looking at it from this season in particular, I think it's the West, and it's not really, it's somewhat debatable, but it's really not when you look at it. So going into, we have the East and the West, just looking at it from a talent perspective, just put the records to the side for a second. So when you look at the top dogs in the East, obviously you got the Celtics. So, you're coming through with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Porzingis, and then looking at the number one seed in the West, Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, a little bit of Gobert here and there. But so obviously we see the more talented number one seed clearly is the Boston Celtics. I don't think there's any argument there. But then if you start getting lower and lower, because I'm only going down to like the 10th seed, because the other teams in the East and West outside of the 10th seed really ain't worth talking about. I will say before I continue, honorable mentions for the East: Raptors, Hornets, respectable on most nights. But the Bulls, Wizards, and Pistons, absolutely garbage. For the West, the Clippers and the Jazz, they're honorable mentions because again, they can compete when they're on. But they're not very consistent. And then Blazers, Grizzlies, and the Wemby Spurs, absolutely horrendous. I want to just say that if the Spurs, if you were number one pick and you were out here extending the longest arms probably in NBA history, and you can't get the ball from your teammates, there ain't much you can do, man. I mean, he's the number one pick and he can't get the ball from his team.
Has a power forward running the point, so. I mean,
yeah, that is a problem.
Consider the personnel.
But jumping back into it, so the second seed, you got the Magic with Paulo, Cole Anthony, Franz Wagner. I think we can both agree that they're overachieving. But from a talent perspective, they're all right compared to the OKC Thunder. You got Shea, you got Chet, Lou Dort, Williams. Again, comparable in talent, but I would give the edge to the Thunder. All right, so you see a 1-1 right now. It's being fair so far. Then we get to the 3 seed. We got the Bucks, which of course is Giannis, Dame, throw in Lopez if you want to. Denver Nuggets. Do I really need to say it? Like, come on now. It's Jokic, it's Murray, it's MPJ. Come on now. That ain't even really. It's because Giannis is so great. It's a discussion, but I'd give it to the Nuggets. All right, Nugget down.
Bucks.
Yeah, in terms of talent.
All right. Yeah.
So then we get to the Sixers. Embiid, Maxey, a little bit of Harris, a little bit of Oubre Jr. Nothing to sneeze at outside of really Embiid. And Maxey has come on strong this year, but I'd weigh judgment out on how he continues to develop. And we're comparing that to the 4th seed Phoenix Suns. Again, in terms of talent, it's really no argument there. KD, Booker, and Beal, that 3 alone, one of the most talented trios we've ever seen together. The problem is we don't ever get to see them together, so their record is indicative of that. However, they are still tied for being the hottest team in the NBA. Per the last video, they were still on a 6-game streak. Now they're on a 7, and I'll give props to the Magic because they're still on a 7. They're on a 7-game win streak as well. So I give them their flowers. Move to Miami Heat. Butler, Bam, Hero. Again, Butler is more of a playoff performer. Bam he's nothing to sneeze at, but he's kind of inconsistent. I do like the leap that he's taken. And Hero, he's good, he's bad, he's really good sometimes, and he's mediocre. He's just kind of up and down for me. We compare that to the Mavericks, which is led by Luka and Kyrie. Definitely a more talented duo than you could argue Butler and Bam. Okay, so another one for the West.
Wait.
All right, you see the gap widening. Okay, we get to the 6th seed. We got the New York Knicks, which we have Brunson. We both agree is really good. We all know Randall is absolute butt cheeks. So do we need to say anything else? No, I don't think so. So we get to the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis. Not a close argument. Moving on to number 7.
You said not a
Pacers.
Not King.
Oh no, come on. De'Aaron Fox and Brunson versus De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis versus Brunson and Randall. That's not a fair argument. Randall weighs that duo down tremendously because of how inefficient he is at scoring. There was literally a clip of Yusuf Nurkic watching this man shoot an uncontested mid-range from the corner. He looked at him like this and then turned his head and went to the basket because he knew it was a brick. I'm just saying, if you don't believe me, you can go look it up. But anyway, to number 7, the Pacers, right? Bruce Brown is nice, but the only star there, truthfully, is Tyrese Halliburton. And they are sitting 9-7 with that said star. All right, just throwing that out there. All right, they're being compared to the Rockets, right? And you could say the Rockets don't really have a star. You can make an argument that Sengun, their center, who's been absolutely dominating the Nuggets recently, throwing that out there, he's up and coming. We'll see what he becomes. They're saying he's Jokic 2.0. We'll see what remains to be said about that. But in terms of star power, I mean, they got Jalen Green, who's pretty good, Van Vliet, but nobody's an established star. So I'll give that to the Pacers. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
AC, we got the Cavs. We got Donovan Mitchell, Garland's all right, Allen and Mobley, they're cool. Against the number 8 Los Angeles Lakers. Again, do we need to say more? It's LeBron James and Anthony Davis. We just saw what them boys did to them boys in Cleveland, man. Come on now. Don't make that face. You know what time it is. All right? Number 9. We got the Hawks. We both know it's Trae Young, and that's it. Onyeka Okongwu is nice. Clint Capella, cool. The rest of them pieces are nice. They're okay. But they're the 9th seed for a reason, because it's Trae Young and everybody else. Then we compare them to the 9th seed Pelicans. Zion Williamson, the man who made you a believer. Believer.
You just going off of
Brandon Ingram.
Going off of names.
DJ McCollum.
You just
the vibes. They're more talented than the Hawks. Then the last team, the Brooklyn Nets, led by Miles Bridges, who's cool. He ain't great, but he's cool. Do you know who the number 10 seed is in the West? It goes by the name of the Golden State Warriors. Just too talented. They have Steph Curry.
So hold on. So
we talk about the talent. It's not that close.
So we're just basing this off the talent, off of name value, pretty much. You're just going off name value, because some of those, I mean, you're not telling the full story with the Indiana Pacers. You're just saying, oh, they just have Tyrese Halliburton. They're a solid top to bottom team. And what I mean by the East is better than the West. The East have more teams I would trust in a 7-game series right now. This is right now. I'm not talking about game 82. Not talking about.
But that's what we're talking about, though. If that's the case, because we're talking about
right now. I feel the East. If tomorrow the playoffs started, I would feel better with most teams out East beating most teams out West. Forget the names on the team. I don't care about that. The names on the team. You could have Michael Jordan, but I trust the Knicks. I actually trust the Knicks, which is hard to do, but I trust the Knicks.
The Knicks?
Did you see that Knicks and Heat game a couple of nights ago? The Knicks came.
Man, you trust the Knicks. Your second best player is horrible.
Okay, Julius Randle ain't the best, but you have Mitchell Robinson. He's been playing out of his mind. You have in the quickly. He's been playing excellent. These teams, and what I'm seeing in the East,
you just really say Mitchell Robinson and quickly to my face.
I said that.
After I gave you stars.
I said that. But what I mean by the East is better is I see more dogs on the Eastern Conference than I do out West. West, you saw last night with the Lakers and Sixers. The Lakers just gave up. Now, the Knicks could have done that. I've seen the Pacers come back. I've seen Toronto come back from big deficits. I saw the Bucks the other night come back, 26 down. These teams have dogs, and they're going to fight from opening tip to the final buzzer. And right now, actually, if you want to know, East versus West, they're tied at 30-30. That won't change after the in-season games tonight. So pretty much the East and West are on even playing field. They're 30-30. So from my perspective,
I'll give you that.
Okay, so I mean,
but
you were going off.
You're missing one point. You're missing one key
going
point.
off names. Like, yes, Steph and Clay and all that. Okay. But they got to win. Steph, Clay, all of them got to come together and win. Zion and Brandon Ingram, those guys got to come to win. The Pelicans have lost twice to the lowly Atlanta Hawks this season. The great Timberwolves that you are suddenly heralding as the next big dynasty lost to the Toronto Raptors.
They were an honorable mention.
Okay, these are the teams. I'll give you the Knicks, the Heat, the Pacers, the Cavs, somewhat the Nets, even the Hawks. These
first round exits. You're giving me first round exits. None of those teams have a legit chance to go to the second round.
Because they're in the East. Because the East is just that strong. But
look at the West. Now go look to the West.
Who am I looking at?
When you said the Heat, Knicks, Pacers, Cavs. So from 5 to 8, tell me 5 through 8. There's not one team in the 5 through 8 from the Western Conference that can go to the second round.
I'd have to see who's 5 through 8.
It's the Mavericks, the Kings, the Rockets, and the Lakers. You're telling me not one of those teams would go to the next round?
I mean, the Lakers, if they're playing if Anthony Davis actually shows up, I mean, the Lakers can.
Yeah.
Dallas. I never trust a Kyrie, Luka Doncic team because you never know when they're going to just stink it up. So
that's fair.
They don't have. I mean, they have a weirdly constructed team. They've always had that since Dirk and all that is gone. I don't know what they see in certain players, but they just don't get the type of players I think fit with Luka and that Dallas system. The Kings, I think I was high on them last year, but I think they haven't taken a step. I'll give them their props. They're my dog team out west. They're in the same vein as the Pacers, the Knicks, and those teams that can fight their way to a big win in a 7-game series. They can take a 7-game series, but the Suns, injuries, they're in the upper tier of the Western Conference, but I don't trust them. They got too many injuries. Pelicans, inconsistent. The Timberwolves, I said I'm a believer and I want to believe, so I'm going to stay on. Since I said it, I'm gonna stay with them because they have done some great things so far this season. But do you really trust a Minnesota team? You trust the Timberwolves? I mean, I think they could be any of those Eastern Conference teams that I'm talking about. I think the Nuggets can get by any Eastern Conference team when complete. The Timberwolves, I give a slight chance out west to take on any team out east, and they can get the job done. But that's it. Who else do you have out there that you feel comfortable 100% saying could beat the best of the best out east? The Nuggets and maybe the Timberwolves. And the Timberwolves,
I think the Suns could definitely do it.
I've got to see all.
I'd say so we're talking about the best of the East. So we're talking about a team in this list that could beat the Celtics. We're not going to include the Magic because they're still fresh.
No, we're including everybody.
So we're going to say the Celtics, the Bucks, and I don't trust the Sixers. So I'm saying Celtics and Bucks because I think that's going to be the Eastern Conference Finals.
You trust the Bucks more than you trust the Sixers?
Yes. Joel Embiid is a notorious choker in the playoffs. He literally disappeared. Him and Harden were trying to one-up each other on who was going to disappear the worst when they played the Celtics.
Okay, I'll give you that. All right.
So when we talk about that, it's just those two teams for me because Giannis has proven it, and I trust the Celtics in their system. So when we look at that, you already know how I feel about the Timberwolves and what they did to the Celtics. I'm confident in them. All right. We already said Denver. I got Phoenix. All right. We go down the list. Is there any objections so far? Speak now, hold your peace.
I got to see a full Phoenix team. I got to see them together.
And that's fair. OKC can do it.
Oh. Too young.
All right. And the last team that I would give a shot to beating those two teams, Los Angeles Lakers. I don't really trust any other teams to go all the way and to beat one of those top two teams. I think a fully healthy Lakers team, they can do it. I got the fully healthy Phoenix Suns team, they can do it with their stars. Denver Nuggets, Minnesota Timberwolves. That's 4 teams that I said can take the top dogs in the Eastern Conference.
I think out east, I think the Celtics, I think they could run through any team out west. Bucks.
Run through? Whoa, we didn't say beat. You're saying run through, though.
Run through any team, 1 through 15, they'll crush them. 7-game series.
In a 7-game
low
series?
Low difficulty.
You said low difficulty? Okay.
Wait. Let me take that back. Let me take that back. The Nuggets will give them a challenge. Everybody else, no. 0 challenge.
The disrespect is crazy. Like, you don't know star power is everything in the NBA.
No. I don't trust certain stars, so that's why I'm not going to put them. No. The Bucks. I'm not as high on the Bucks as you are.
I'm not that high on them either.
The Bucks.
I respect Giannis.
I respect Giannis, but the Bucks, I wouldn't trust them to get a win. I would trust the Sixers. So the Sixers, like I said, I think they're playing with a lot of confidence right now. I think Joel Embiid has something to prove. I think they could beat pretty much any team out west in a 7-game series if the playoffs started right now. If this was the finals, they'd win. I'm even call me crazy, but they showed me last year Miami Heat, even though they're
stop.
Even though they are weakened tremendously, they didn't get the pickups they wanted to.
They lost their whole starting lineup.
And they're still good. They're still solid. Playoff Jimmy Butler, I would trust against any of those Western Conference teams.
In the West?
You said the Timberwolves. I trust them against the Timberwolves. I definitely trust them against OKC. I don't think they'd have a chance to Miami.
OKC would smack Miami. It wouldn't even be close. They would sweep them. Them young boys in OKC would sweep them old farts in Miami.
He's got them. They know what to do. They know they've got a plan, a game plan. They know.
Disrespectful, man. You sleep on the Thunder. I mean, you really sleep on the Thunder because one thing you're missing about a lot of these Western Conference teams, they're young, but they have playoff experience, right? When you talk about the Pacers, they're not proven. They haven't done anything in the postseason. The Timberwolves, the Thunder, they've all have playoff experience. And
what
yes,
the Thunder
did
done?
they lose in the first round? Yes.
What have the
they
Thunder
did.
done?
But they're poised to make a run this year. You see what they've been doing.
So you're giving the Pacers no chance of making a run this year. They're a year better.
A run against who?
Against
if they played the number, okay, well, again, it's the Magic. They're the number 2 seed. They're the fake number 2 seed. But if they played the Magic, they go home in the first round. Right now, if they play today,
the Indiana Pacers played the Orlando Magic in a 7-game series right now.
They're going home. They are going home to the Magic, yes. Indiana's one of the worst rebounding teams in the NBA. I think they're ranked like 29th. They would get punished by the Magic. That's a horrible matchup for them. That's a big team.
Okay, I mean, I'll give you that, but I still think they can match up pretty well against most Western Conference teams. Yes, they're small, but they've got a top talented point guard who can, with some pieces around them that got shooters.
Are these shooters proven? Have they done it on the next level before? Or are they just regular season front runners?
Okay, I mean, but you gotta give them, they gotta be put in that spotlight. So, I mean, it's gotta come at some point.
But when you talk about trust, you're comparing it to people who've already been in that situation.
Okay, but
and you're saying you trust the people who haven't been in that
situation.
What
I'm seeing now, I'm going off of what I see right now, so far this season, and I think that these teams on out east have a dog mentality. I think they saw what the Heat did last year, and they said we're gonna copy that.
That is so bogus, and you know it. You are just running with the biggest pile of crap. Yo.
Have you seen these teams? Like I said, Toronto.
Toronto isn't even the playoff picture.
Okay, well,
they're not even top 10 in the conference. They're bad.
I'm just saying these teams are going to play. What I say earlier, these are teams that are going to play from jump ball to the last buzzer,
and they're going to lose at the last buzzer.
But they're going. They're not going to go out there like the Lakers and stink it up and just talk. You know, they're looking at the dinner menu.
The Lakers.
They're looking at the dinner menu.
They did what they needed to do
for halftime. They're looking at the dinner menu where they're going to go out to eat.
And that's fine. We lost to a really good team. That's okay. What we can't do is lose to the Rockets.
Right. We saw Giannis come back 26 points. That's a dog mentality. We saw the Raptors do it. I've seen the Pacers kind of do it against the Hawks. They were down big, came back. I mean, I just think these teams are a little more, they want it more than I see out west. Out west, some of them teams are a little lax. They think, oh, we got all these great players, we'll be all right. They don't have that. They don't have that dog mentality that the East has, and that's why it's 30-30 right now. And that's why I'm saying it now. The in-season tournament winner will be from the East. The NBA champion. I don't want to go there because I love the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets have a great chance to repeat. So I'm not going to say the champion will be from the East. But I think Denver's going to have every bit of a challenge this year when they get to the NBA Finals against whomever it be, whether it be the Bucks, Celtics, even Sixers. They're going to have to strap up and they're going to have to fight tooth and nail to get another Larry O'Brien trophy.
All I'm going to say to finish this is the teams that you're discussing, that you say would beat the teams in the West has not been healthy. All right, and they're still right there with the East. When you talk about all the records, that is 30-30, the West has been perpetually unhealthy this season. We still haven't seen Bill, and Murray went down pretty early in the season, and they're still top 5 in their conference, both teams. So before you want to say the East and the West are right here, just understand that the West is still hurt.
And it's going to stay hurt.
Drastic statements.
You know what it is out West, but can't keep eyes on the court. Maybe their medical staff needs to be reevaluated or something. I don't know.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, shoot. I mean, that's fair. But we both know the Western Conference is the best conference.
My team is out West, so. But
yeah,
it is what it is this year. I think the East is hungry. They want another chip on their side. So.
Yeah, the Spurs want another lottery pick on their side. So.
Hey, we working hard for it. We gonna get us another one.
The way y'all playing, y'all might, but that's gonna do it for this episode. Hope y'all have a good one. Stay blessed. Try to stay warm because I know it's getting cold. And just stay tuned for our next video. Make sure you like and subscribe. CW is going to be hosting the next one, so look forward to his long, drawn-out commentary.
Hey, you gotta let the people hear you.
We're gonna be out of here, man.
And don't forget to like and subscribe. And let us know, who do you think, East or West? Let us know down below in the comment section, please. I know most people be saying the East, so I'm pretty confident.
All right, y'all.
All right, y'all have a blessed week.